Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, you're so welcome. I'm Jane, my husband Mike is behind the camera. We're British, early retirees, debt and mortgage free, living on a super tight budget here in Brittany in northwest France. And every Wednesday we open our home and invite you in for a midweek money chat. Let's take a look at what we're going to talk about today. Every now and then on the channel we do have to have a bit of a tough talk about a difficult topic, and this week's all about those people who can save but they're not saving. Now, over my lifetime I've met plenty of people with decent incomes and good pensions, and they are making the choice, and some of them are still making the choice to not budget, to not save, to not really think about the worries and problems that are coming and what they may or may not be able to do about it. And this week, as every week, we do understand that everybody's different, and we always say each to their own, and some of these people, it is their choice. And I absolutely respect it is their choice. But we're going to look at those blockages and difficulties that's getting in the way of saving, of putting money aside regularly to save for those rainy days that we know are going to happen. Let's have a look at these. Lifestyle. Well, as frugal people, and you may well be those frugal people too, that's not really a big deal for us, is it? We don't really care what we look like. We don't care what our hair looks like as long as it's not dirty. We don't really care what our house looks like. We don't really care where we go, who we mix with. We're kind of okay with who we are and what we're doing with our money. But for some people, this is an issue. What they look like has great importance to them, whether they have their hair done or their nails done, or the car they drive, or the places they go, or the clubs that they're members of, or the places that they live, or what the house looks like, is really important to them. And as I always say, each to their own, and I have no criticism of people who do this. But if that is you, if things are going to be tight because of lifestyle, have a look at that and really reflect on it and think to yourself, what of all of these lifestyle issues are so important to me that I can't live without them? But what are some things I could compromise on? What are some things that I could change? Or what are some things that I could do without? Because let's face it, for some people, it is lifestyle that is stopping people from saving. So let's take a look at this word boredom. And also people's perceptions. They don't want to appear boring. They want to appear interesting. They want to have that previously mentioned lifestyle, sometimes to share with others so they don't appear boring. And this gets really problematic and tricky, doesn't it? Now, I know that people get rid of perfectly good cars, perfectly good household items, perfectly good clothing, perfectly good items for the garden from garden furniture, and I know that and you know that because we buy it second hand. When you and I, we frugal people, go and buy stuff new, we keep it until it's dust, until it can't be used anymore, until it's just beyond use at all. We keep it until the last minute of its final gasp. But we do know people are out there spending money because they're bored or they don't want to appear boring. So they want to be able to say what they've done to their house. They want to show what they've done to their house. People are out there changing their curtains, their furniture, their carpet, their clothes, their appearance, their car, all of those things to impress other people, and because they may have been bored with what they have, or they don't want people to think that they are boring people. Is that you? Are you one of those people who gets bored easily? Are you shopping to entertain yourself? Are you shopping to impress other people? And that, believe it or not, is so normal. It is so normal that people do that, and often because they feel obliged to do that. And I found the antidote to all of this is to have hobbies, to volunteer, to do things in your own garden that are very low cost, to find places to walk and places to go that don't cost any money. I know lots of you watching this now are great users of your local library. Some of you are volunteers, some of you are helping out with animal rescue and charities, and you have found something that alleviates your boredom. So if you're one of those people who may be shopping because you're bored, or you may be buying things because you're bored of what's in your house, what could you do instead to alleviate that frustration or that boredom, or to fill your time doing things that you really love? Next thing, and this can really get in the way of people's savings, they'll say, oh, we just can't save, we just can't save. And sometimes it's because of buying habits. So they always go to the same supermarket. They always browse and have a look for things that they fancy. They've always done that. They could previously afford it. They continue to do this. They've always spent money on clothes. They always go out with friends at the weekend buying clothes. They always go out every now and then and go out and eat. They've always gone out and had coffees and things like that. And maybe previously they haven't needed to worry about these things. There haven't been this massive increase in prices that we're seeing now. But it can be a real reason why people don't save. They've had this income, or they've had this regular pension, and they just don't save. They just bounce through the month from one month to the next. There isn't anything left at the end of the month, but the money's coming in again, and they never accumulate savings. So this is where we in the past have had to look at our buying habits. We stopped going to the supermarket on a regular basis. For example, we stopped going every Thursday. We only went when we needed to. And that made us look at our food that we had in the house and stretch it out. And we've got to the point now where we're pretty much only going to the supermarket twice a month. Saves me time, saves me money, saves fuel for the car, and I can do more important things that I enjoy doing instead, like in the summer being in my garden or out walking, or in the winter crafting and sewing and things that I enjoy that just don't cost me very much money. So is that you? Do you have very regular shopping habits? Things that you do, things that you buy? Do you always go to the village market or the flea markets or things like that every single time they happen, without any real plan of what you really need to buy, but you're just going for a browse and you just like to pick things up because you've always done this? Are you someone who very regularly goes to charity shops because you just love that buzz of go in and have a look around, and next thing you've come out €10, $10 or £10 lighter, and you've come out with something you really didn't plan to do? So take a look at your shopping habits. Are there any that are stopping you from making those little bits of regular saving? Take a look. There are so many people out there who have a written budget, but there's equally so many people out there who never write a budget. They don't use any kind of budget app, they don't use any kind of budgets at all, not at all. They know how much their bills are going to be, their rent, their mortgage, their utilities, their bills, roughly how much they're spending on food, and they look upon at what they've got left as theirs, and that's up to them. And as I always say, each to their own. It's no criticism of people who live like that, but they might be the very people saying, well, I can't save money. And there is the starting point. And I truly believe, and I'm very passionate about this, that everybody needs to live off a written budget, where each and every month you write a unique budget for that month, that you know exactly how much you're going to put aside in savings, whether that's £5, dollars or euros a month, or that's 5%, 10%, 15%, 50%, whatever you choose. that you know exactly what you need sinking funds for, whether that's the car service, birthdays and Christmas, school uniform, the water bill once a year, the tax return, those types of things. And you know you've got that big figure, you've divided it by 12, and you're saving a regular amount a month. But it is so important. And the very famous Dave Ramsey always says about living off a written budget that you give yourself a pay rise. You actually nail down at the beginning of each and every month, first and foremost, how much you're going to save. And like I said, if it's only €5, dollars or pounds a month, or it's only 5%, you're making that regular commitment to putting that money aside. But as I said, as many people who are living off a written budget, there are many who aren't. Are you someone who yet has really not got a grasp of writing a budget at the beginning of every month? Well, we do it at the end of the previous month in readiness for next month. Are you one of those people? Is this blocking you? Is this something that is stopping you from saving? Like I always say, each their own. I'm not saying anyone's doing anything wrong, but it's for you to ask yourself, is that the reason you're not saving? My final point is really quite tough, and I'm sure if this is you, you might go ouch right now, and you really might reflect that this really might be you. Is the reason that you are not saving when you could because just in general you're careless or irresponsible? Now I'll put my hands up and say that has been me in the past. And that's been a lot of people I know in the past, and sometimes they turn that around. But then for lots of people, because then maybe they have a spontaneous personality, maybe because they are just not very good at organisation or planning, and that doesn't make that person a bad person. It just makes it a person who finds it difficult to organise and plan. That's all it is. But is the reason that you are not saving due to carelessness or irresponsibility? Of just being one of those people who just goes, oh, I think I'll buy that. Oh, I think I fancy that. Oh, I just think I'll upgrade that. Oh, I think that's part of the lifestyle that I like. And I never ever like to be the person to point that out. But we know these people personally. We know we've known these people in the past. We know them now. And it's just irresponsible, isn't it? They make irresponsible purchases, and I've done it in the past. I am no saint. Absolutely not. Put my hands up to that and say I've made irresponsible purchases in the past. I have been careless with my budget in the past. So like I said, I'm no saint. I'm not perfect. I've made these mistakes in the past. But it doesn't mean to say when we recognise those mistakes in ourselves that we need to keep making them. Mistake is okay, but if we keep doing it over and over again, it just becomes a bad habit. And I take no pleasure in saying that at all. But is that something that you recognise in yourself? Is that something that is stopping you making that small regular saving or setting up sinking funds that could make that difference? That means when your car breaks down, or your car needs new tyres, or your kids need school uniform, or school holidays come up, or your washing machine breaks down, that actually, because you've made those small considered savings throughout the year, you've got the money to cope with it. You know me, and you know I do like to be reflective, and let's face it, we are living through a cost of living crisis that some people, due to age, have never experienced before in their entire lives. People who got by with their income have got by previously, and now they are not. And I absolutely acknowledge that. And I'm going to say this, and I say this frequently in videos. Frugality cannot cure poverty. Only income can do that. And I'm well aware that just increasing your income or getting a better paid job is very easy to say and not very easy to do. So like I say, I like to be reflective, and I like to put that out there. Now, thank you so much to absolutely everyone who watches our videos, and big thanks to everyone who leaves a comment, and we read every one of them. Maybe something in the past or something now is blocking you from making that regular savings. What is it? Care to share? And if you've overcome that, what did you do to overcome that? Just leaves me to say, on behalf of Mike and myself, thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.